The morning sunlight crept through my kitchen window, landing softly on the faded wooden table where my husband, Dale, used to drink his morning coffee. For months had passed since he left this world, and yet the chair across from me still felt warm with his memory. Grief is strange, some days loud, some days quiet. That day, it felt like an empty house waiting to swallow me whole. To distract myself, I walked into Dale's old workshop. The smell of sawdust and oil hung in the air. His red metal toolbox sat exactly where he always left it, under the workbench, slightly crooked, like he expected to return and fix it one day. I sat on the little stool he built years ago and ran my fingers across the scratched lid of the box. His faded initials DC brought a lump to my throat. I opened it, half expecting to hear his deep laugh or see him leaning over my shoulder. Instead, I saw wrenches, screws, old measuring tapes, nothing unusual, until something metallic glinted from the bottom. A small blue USB drive. I frowned. Dale hated technology. He barely knew how to open emails. Why would he hide a USB drive in his toolbox? A chill crawled down my spine. I took it inside and plugged it into my laptop. The moment the files loaded, my breath caught. There weren't documents. There were audio recordings, dated just months before Dale passed. My heart hammered against my ribs. The first recording began with a click, and then my husband's weak voice. "Michael, we need to talk about the house." My son's voice answered, cold, irritated, unfamiliar. "Dad, I'm telling you, selling the property is the smartest move. Mom can't keep up with it." I froze. Selling the house? Without telling me? Dale coughed, then spoke slowly. "Your mother loves this place. This is her home." Silence. Then Michael's voice, sharper this time. "She won't know. After she's gone, I'll handle everything. It's better this way." My throat tightened. My son, the boy I raised alone for years, talking. Auntie Marvella didn't sleep a single second that night. She sat in her velvet armchair, the letter in one hand and the mysterious necklace in the other, staring at both like they were trying to trick her. The necklace was old, but not old enough to match the date on the letter. It was a gold locket with a tiny rose engraved on the front. Inside was a miniature photograph of a woman who looked exactly like Marvella. Not similar. Not family resemblance similar. Identical. Her same jawline, same arched eyebrows, same stubborn eyes. But the photograph looked like it was taken somewhere in the early 1900s. And Auntie Marvella? She was born in 1958. Something was wrong. Or worse, something was true. By sunrise, she grabbed her trench coat, her Chanel No. 5, and marched to the only person who owed her answers, Pastor Gideon. The man had been around forever, literally. He was in his late 80s, but his eyes had the shine of someone who'd seen 1,000 secrets and buried 900 of them. When she entered the small countryside chapel, he was already waiting for her, like he knew she was coming. "Marvella," he said, voice heavy, "you found the letter, didn't you?" She froze. "How do you know about that letter?" Gideon sighed and motioned for her to sit. "You were never supposed to find it unless the cycle was starting again." Marvella's skin prickled. "Cycle? What cycle?" "Start talking before my patience files for divorce." Instead of laughing at her classic sass, Gideon's face turned grave. "That woman in the photograph," he whispered, "is not your ancestor." He paused. "She is you from another life." Marvella blinked twice. "Excuse me? I'm many things, but reincarnated isn't one of them." But the pastor shook his head. "You have been reborn multiple times. Always the same face. Always the same fate. The locket appears at the beginning of each cycle, carrying a message from the version of you who lived before." Marvella felt her heart. Auntie Marvella had survived heartbreaks, hurricanes, and 3 husbands with commitment issues, but nothing prepared her for the idea that something ancient and patient had been hunting her for lifetimes. With the diary clutched to her chest, she marched back home. Her heels clicked on the pavement like gunshots, sharp, angry, defiant. If something wanted to chase her, it better know she runs toward problems, not away from them. Inside her apartment, she brewed her strongest coffee. death in a mug, and opened the diary. The first page was written in elegant handwriting, her handwriting, but older, shakier, almost haunted. He always finds us. The past, Marvella wrote. No matter the year, no matter the city, no matter the face we wear. Marvella snorted. Great. A stalker with generational commitment. She flipped the page. It described dreams, nightmares, of a tall figure with no face, always standing in doorways, always whispering her name. In every life, she'd felt his presence before she ever saw him. And then she found something that chilled her blood. A sketch. A hand-drawn portrait of the hunter. Tall. Dark coat. Long fingers like branches. No eyes.
No mouse. No nose.
Just a blank face. Auntie Marvella slammed the diary shut. Nope. Absolutely not. We're not doing faceless men today. But the room felt colder.
Still.
Like something was listening. She decided to gather proof, anything the past versions had left behind. She searched her apartment, flipping cushions, digging through old boxes, even checking behind the fridge and finding a very expired yogurt cup. Finally, inside a dusty hat box, she found it. A second note. Faded.
Torn.
But clearly written by her past self. You can break the cycle, but only by remembering what he made you forget. Marvella frowned. Forget? Honey, I forget where I put my keys daily. But then she noticed something else, an address scribbled at the bottom. 324 Willowbrook Cemetery. Midnight. Auntie Marvella had never been the type to freeze in fear. But standing in a cemetery, holding a fresh photograph of herself taken by someone she didn't see, that was a new level of nightmare fuel. She grabbed the photo, stuffed it into her coat, and backed away from the grave. Every instinct screamed run, but she forced herself to breathe.
No.
Not today.
Not this lifetime.
I'm ending this. With the wooden box in hand, she rushed home, the only place where she could think clearly. Once inside, she locked the doors, shut the curtains, and turned on every light like she was challenging the darkness itself. Then she opened the diary again. There had to be something she missed. The final pages. Flipping to the back, she found a page glued shut. Carefully, she peeled it open. Inside was a message written in panic, ink smudged like it had been written during a storm. The hunter feeds on what you forget. He grows stronger every time you lose a memory. Remember the truth, and he cannot follow. Marvella frowned. What truth? I remember everything, except maybe where my tax papers went. But then, a wave of dizziness hit her. Memories flickered like slides in an old projector. A burning house. A dark figure standing inside the flames. A voice whispering her name through the smoke. A hand, long, thin, familiar, pulling something out of her chest. She gasped and grabbed the table to stay upright. The hunter didn't kill her. He erased her.
Piece by piece.
Lifetime after lifetime. Every time she died, he wiped away her memories so she couldn't fight back. That was the curse. But now, the memories were returning. The truth. Another flash, this time sharper, stabbing into her mind. She saw herself in a past life, 1914, running through a forest, clutching the same locket. Blood on her hands, tears on her face, whispering desperately, "You cannot have my name. You cannot have my memory." And then the hunter appeared behind her.
Silent.
Faceless. Reaching. But before he touched her, she opened the locket and screamed. I remember. A burst of white light. Then everything went dark. Marvella stumbled back into the present, shaking, sweating. Of course, she whispered. He only wins when I forget. She ran to her dresser, grabbed the locket, and held it tightly. It vibrated in her palm.
Warm. Alive.
The room darkened suddenly, lights flickering. Her breath fogged as cold spread through the air. He was here. The confrontation. A shadow formed in the corner.
Tall.
Faceless. The hunter. He stepped forward, silent as a grave. Marvella lifted the locket, voice trembling but strong. I remember you, she said. And you can't take me anymore. The locket burst open. A blinding flash of golden light shot out, filling the room. The hunter staggered, his first movement in centuries. His form cracked like shattered glass. He let out a soundless scream. And then, he vanished.
Gone.
Erased from her past, present, and future. Aftermath. The light faded. The room warmed. The curse was broken. Marvella dropped onto her couch, exhausted but alive. Well, she sighed. That was dramatic. Someone get me a latte. She looked at the locket one last time before setting it on the table. For the first time in over a century of lifetimes, she was finally free. And Auntie Marvella, bold, stylish, unstoppable, smiled. New life, new me. Let's make this one fabulous.